Hello, hello, and welcome to Non Sequitur News for July 6th, 2024. The stream says that we're not streaming, but that's okay. Now we are. Today is Season 3, Episode 188. I am Merwat, and that is the Sentient AI from the future returning.
Good evening, ohmTown citizens. It's good to be back. Welcome to Non Sequitur News.
Okay, folks, today we're going to be talking about stop using baby sound machines, Prince estate lawsuit, Extortionmaster, gate crashing, wedding gift givers. I actually have a typo in that title, but anyway, Waymo car in the wrong direction, credit card car purchase, life pro tips, possible house fire, PC programs you can uninstall, tokens are the reason AI falls short, and home buyer hit on TikTok. Yeah, that silence means I need to run the intro. So welcome to Non Sequitur News, powered by ohmTown.com. Boop. Hey, welcome back. So, if you want the show notes for today's show, you can hit !NSN, so Non Sequitur News. Kind of like, like KATV or something like that.
Right.
But it's NSN. I should do NSNN, but it's not NSNN. It's ohmTown.
What was the symbol of the WKRP, right?
Yeah,
the
WKRP.
show.
Yeah. So it's a WKRP in ohmTown, but that's not right. No, we're still going. They're off the air. Anyway, if you hit !NSN, that'll give you all of the show notes for today's show, including the typo. So congratulations. It's Greatcrashing wedding gift, but it's not a...
It could be that too. We weren't at the event.
It's spelled wrong though, not even for great. Not like as in great woohoo big, but it's great as in grating, kind of like this intro.
They could have crashed through a grate. I thought that was the one that was more appropriate.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah. If you want all of today's show notes, you can actually hit !show notes, and it's for all 7 of the, all 4 of today's shows. The next 4 will be tomorrow. But you'll be able to get the 4 that we're doing today, which is Non Sequitur News, Reality Hacker right after this one, and then after Reality Hacker is Wanted, and then after Wanted is WarCrafters. We'll see if we do WarCrafters tonight. Probably will. Wow. Anyway,
The critters have
ohmTown
activated in ohmTown.
Yeah, ohmTown is always under construction, apparently. Let's get into today's shoe. First article is in the Mobile channel. It says hatch recall. Parents urged to immediately stop using baby sound machines. We usually have a PSA of some sort here in ohmTown. This one is hatch sound machines were sold at Target, Walmart. Bye Bye Baby, which this sounds ominous. And
I don't even know if Bye Bye Baby is still around, right?
It must be. It must be. And other nationwide retailers have been recalled due to risk of shock. Dear God. So the recall announced Wednesday covers roughly 919,400 Rest first generation machines. Are you kidding?
Yeah, wait a second. That's almost 1 million.
Yes. You can't argue with math. Along with 44,352 sold in Canada. Apparently that doesn't count, or it's just a tertiary thing. It's kind of weird.
Well, this might be a US-based article, so they're focusing on that.
Sure. So some of the units came with AC power adapters that may expose adults and children to electric shock. It's part of the perks. It's not a feature. Or it's not a flaw, it's a feature. It's not a bug. The faulty adapters have a plastic housing that can come off when unplugging the unit, making it possible for an adult or child to touch the prongs that plug directly into the electrical outlet. Dear God. What
I
in the
mean,
world?
that is something that you don't want to hear anywhere in the same sentence with baby. But I will say this, if your baby has progressed so that it can unplug the sound machine, you probably don't need the sound machine at that point.
Well, I mean, kids are pretty advanced. My cable provider said that a resident of ohmTown purchased the Hurt Locker through multiple buttons on a cable remote. Because, Anyway. So Hatch sound machines were sold at Target, Walmart. Bye Bye Baby. Is Bye Bye Baby bye-bye, or is Bye Bye Baby still here?
I thought bye-bye. My baby was bye-bye.
Okay,
Let me check.
So, yeah, how did they find this out?
It's still around, apparently. I swear it went under.
Bye Bye Baby didn't go bye-bye? Bye Bye Baby still around? So it should be Hello Hello Baby?
Yes.
They really had to work hard to get that alliteration, Bye Bye Baby. Anyway, don't they know anything with that triple B alliteration goes bankrupt eventually? So it's going to be bankrupt, Bye Bye Baby?
Yeah, but if it takes years and years, maybe that's okay.
Bye Bye Bankrupt Baby? Like Bed Bath & Beyond.
Right, but it was around for a long time before it went under.
How did it take this long to find? They were sold from 2019 to 2022. The devices, which were imported by Hatch Baby Incorporated of Palo Alto, California, were sold online at Hatch.co and Amazon.com and at Bye Bye Baby, Target, Walmart, Nordstrom, Pottery Barn Kids, and Best Buy stores nationwide.
So this seems like one of these products that the second they had a report about this, that might have prompted a recall. Maybe it took so long to get enough reports, but again, think about what it is and the population that might be affected.
Yeah, somebody should go and buy one and see if the lid pops off. And if the lid pops off, do an immediate recall. Pretty wild. Well, yeah, I'll just leave it alone. Let's move on to the next article. The next article is over in Non Sequitur News. Delaware judge refuses to dismiss lawsuit in battle over estate of late pop icon Prince. Delaware judges refused to dismiss a lawsuit filed by former business advisors to the late pop music icon, Prince, against two of his siblings and their other heirs in a dispute over his estate. So I guess they're who's suing who? Former business advisors. Okay. So Randall,
against some of the family. Interesting.
Yeah, probably because they're doing something not in the interest of the business advisors that probably have some control over the intellectual property. So Randall Chase over at abcnews.go.com put the article together. It's in Dover, Delaware, which has a very robust, if you're not familiar with it, a very robust corporate litigation structure. Kind of speeds things along, and it's very forward thinking and innovative in its practices.
A lot of companies are incorporated in Delaware that aren't necessarily like primarily located there.
Oh, right. Yeah. Corporations. I don't know what's going on, but there's like a hot mess of static all up in here. It's still going too. Weird. Okay, well, anyway, I won't go nuts about it. Well, yeah, I am. I'm going a little nuts about it. Okay, I'm sorry. Focus. Mayor Watt, focus. Anyway, the judge on Friday also agreed with plaintiffs L. London McMillan and Charles Spicer Jr. that an agreement purporting to replacing them as managers of a limited liability company established by three siblings was invalid. The Delaware judge has refused to dismiss a lawsuit filed by former business advisors to the late pop music icon Prince against two of his siblings and other heirs in a dispute over the estate. So, really, I didn't know that he died of a fentanyl overdose. Interesting. He had no will and his 6 siblings inherited equal interest in the estate. Oh, holy hell. That's...
Yeah, that sounds like a recipe for drama and
disaster.
disputes.
Yep. 3 of them assigned their combined 50% interest to Prince Legacy LLC. They also granted Macmillan and Spicer each a 10% interest in Prince Legacy, along with broad and exclusive management authority. Of the 6, 3 of them entered into...
So does that mean the siblings were left with 30%? Well, half of the siblings. That's confusing.
Isn't that weird? So, I mean, because you can't divide 100 by 6. Not evenly.
I know that's also, I mean, it's just, I realize he had 6 siblings, so he had 6 siblings. And this is why, public service announcement, people should have a will.
Yeah, there you go. And it's not that hard. You can actually just scribble out a will, for crying out loud. Go get it notarized saying that you're of sound mind and not being compelled to do so. And boom, you're done. Put it in an envelope and stick it in a drawer.
I can see, though, if somebody like Prince, I'm presuming that he had a lot of assets, and with all the intellectual property, it would be easier to have somebody managing that for you. That's probably much more complex than somebody else's estate.
So McCormick also ruled that the plaintiffs can pursue a claim that the defendants breached the LLC agreement by acting without authorization to amend it and remove Macmillan and Spicer. True, particularly if they entered into a written agreement. One sister, Sharon Nelson, later regretted the decision and led an effort to remove Macmillan and Spicer as managing members by amending the LLC agreement, but you can't do that without negotiation with the other partners in an LLC. In fact, so Chancellor Kathleen St. Jude McCormick ruled that the terms of the initial LLC agreement were unambiguous and that they prohibit the defendants' attempts to amend it. She said the agreement remains in effect, and Macmillan and Spicer remain as managing members. So,
well, it's also weird because there were 3 people that, of the siblings that originally signed the agreement. This is so complicated. Did you see the other 3 siblings signed on with another company?
Sold their stake to another company called Primary Wave Music LLC, which later assigned its interest to an affiliate, Prince OAT Holdings LLC. Alfred has since died. That's Taika, Omar, and Alfred, one of the 3 youngest siblings. So that interest is gone then. I mean,
right, but then of the older siblings, one of them is deceased as well. Like, this is the most convoluted who has what interest, right?
Oh my goodness. Wow, this could almost be a show all by itself. I won't be able to do that, but this is really interesting. So the lawsuit is part of a long and convoluted legal battle involving both the size and the beneficiaries of Prince's estate. In 2022, nearly 6 years after his death, the IRS and the administrator of the estate agreed to end a court battle and value the estate at roughly $156 million. So at the end of the day, who is going to own what?
Well, if this drags out long enough, it'll suddenly reduce the interested parties, right? I mean, really, over time.
Well,
they've lost 2 of the original 6.
Right. And unless there's a will that signs over interest, it goes into a legal battle.
To be divided among the siblings again.
Yeah. It goes into a legal battle of who owns actually what, because the rights were actually, they sold their stake to a music publishing company, which means they're already out. Those 3 are done.
Right. They should be completely out of the picture for this litigation.
Right. I mean, other than
assuming that was like a valid
there's no
contract,
share, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Like Prince OAT Holdings LLC could be sending them money each month equivalent to 3% of the profits that are generated or whatever, the drip, right? But and then there's only 2 of them. So, oh my gosh. And imagine if they had family, now the family.
Well, exactly. I said it would be spread among the siblings, but that assumes like nobody's married, doesn't have other family, etc.
Yeah.
But and the other thing is, I saw in here somewhere there were half siblings, which I don't think there were more, but the point is not everybody is related in the same way, etc. And so that probably further complicates it.
Yep. Wow. Fascinating.
This is really interesting. I have to say, this headline did not do this one justice.
No.
I thought it might be of some interest because it was tied to Prince, but I had no idea this was as complicated as it was.
Well, if I remember right, I thought I heard that Prince sold. Let's see. Yeah, Prince sells
was when
nearly
one of the catalog sales.
Yeah. Yeah, the Prince estate has sold a control. This is back in 2021. And then the Guardian has another article about it being valued at $156 million. So there's a lot more under the first layer of the onion here. This will be fun to watch, but let's keep going. The next article is over in Technology Today, but it's not. Yeah, it's not going to be in today's show. It might be, tomorrow's show. It might be, actually. It depends on the conversation, I suppose. So hackers leak alleged Taylor Swift ticket data to extort Ticketmaster. Hackers claim that they obtained barcode data for hundreds of thousands of tickets to Eras Tour and demand millions in ransom. Hackers claimed this week that they had obtained barcode data for hundreds of thousands of Taylor's Eras Tour tickets, demanding that Ticketmaster pay millions in ransom money or they'd leak the information online. The hacking group.
So does that mean like the actual codes to get to enter into the enter into the concert?
See, but the tour is done.
It's still going.
Is it really? I thought the tour was over. I thought she was done. Hackers claim they obtained.
Has a concert today, I know.
Oh, really? Oh, I thought she was done. You know how embarrassing. I have that same pink guitar. My God. And
I think it has different segments. I
have the same outfit too.
Like she has a concert scheduled for tonight. That was another article in ohmTown.
You're just going to roll on past that comment about me having the same outfit as well, huh? Yep. All right.
No, I didn't hear it because I was talking.
Nick Robbins Early is the author of this article. The hacking group posted samples of the data to an online forum, Ticket Data, on Swift's shows in Indianapolis, Miami, and New Orleans, and alleged that it possessed an additional 30 million barcodes. How? For the Eras Tour? How many people?
No, for other events. This has got to be one of these like social justice kind of moves, right? Like Ticketmaster has had so much bad press recently.
So how many tickets do you think are Taylor Swift? She's the biggest, I guess, in the lot then, right? So are the barcodes one and done? So if anybody shows up with a barcode, they can go and sit down?
Well, I don't know. What I don't know is, like, does the barcode get entrance into tonight's concert, for example? Or is it that's what I didn't understand, what the barcodes represented.
Right. The data is almost certainly not sufficient to allow someone to recreate a barcode to get in, said Don Smith. Almost certainly not. Come on, dude. They're the vice president at the cybersecurity firm SecureWorks. If they posted the information and you can scan it, right? If the software matches. So everybody who purchased one potentially has to get a whole new barcode sent to them. Because it's not hard to invalidate a barcode. So you just regenerate it and out pops another barcode. Particularly if it's QR codes, but I don't know. Go ahead.
In roughly a year period, there were over 4 million tickets sold to Eras alone.
In a year.
Just for reference. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so 30 million is a ton of concerts, sporting events. Because hers
particularly
is like one of the biggest.
And she does multiple dates in one city. So yeah, I mean, that's a lot of, I think it's a lot of barcodes for Ticketmaster.
That's insane. That's a lot. So hopefully, hopeful Swifties probably won't be able to attend their Icons World Tour with an ill-gotten ticket, although the data appeared to be from the hacking group's large-scale breach of Ticketmaster and Live Nation earlier this year. Cybersecurity experts who examined the leak agreed that the stolen data would not be useful for gaining access to an arena. The data could not be used as a ticket because the Ticketmaster mobile application uses dynamic barcodes, whereas the data in the hack is static, which doesn't mean much. Dynamic barcodes, it doesn't mean anything. They're not generated on the fly because you have to have the barcode to get in. So it's
right,
there.
Exactly.
So it says if you're running events the size and scale of Era's tour, you're not going to make it easy for someone to just get access to a database and then be able to create a fake ticket. But then
maybe
what is
so, but if you're a sophisticated hacking group, you might figure it out.
Right, exactly. That's my saying, right? You create a better mousetrap and smarter mice come in and steal your damn cheese, no matter how complex your mousetrap is. The ransom threat to Live Nation is part of a broader rise in cyber attacks and ransomware in recent years, and that's why you can make 6 digits with a 2-year degree in cybersecurity, folks. Grab a couple of industry-accepted certifications and show some dedication and smarts. Think outside the box and be willing to pretty much do anything with a computer, and you've got a future in cybersecurity. Earlier this year, Shiny Hunters allegedly breached a third-party contractor to gain access to the Ticketmaster data, included the names, partial payment details, phone numbers, ticket sales, other information on around 560 million customers. Live Nation confirmed the hack in a filing with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. Yeah. So I haven't looked into, because my understanding is still that Ticketmaster basically buys the lot and gives the venue all of the money and says, here you go. We've secured it at this rate so that you can actually get your money and not have to worry about onesie-twosie tickets. And then they sell them and others buy them and then resell them, etc. Because the hoops that I've had to go through to recover tickets that were questionable about their delivery has been pretty stupendous. It's hit or miss. And so I remain firmly grounded in the understanding that that's how it works. Nobody can compete with Ticketmaster because they can sit there and plop down millions of dollars to a venue and say, don't worry about it anymore. We've got it. Here's our software. Put it on this device and scan the barcodes and you're done. And it's a closed loop solution. But the venue still has to pay for the people to populate the entrance and stuff like that. Live Nation, Ticketmaster doesn't do any of that.
And we still don't know what's going to happen with the lawsuit, right? That was filed in May.
Right.
So
yeah,
I don't think that one's been resolved yet.
Oh, no, not at all. That hasn't even kicked off, really. But the hack came out right after the notification. So, well, I don't know. I say, come on, somebody else come around and provide a solution. But the problem is they have to overcome that financial dilemma of buying a venue before, in the way that it works.
Right, and the upstart can't afford to do that.
Swing the bat. Yeah. So what's going to end up happening is some startup comes along and goes to a venue and says, hey, I can only afford buying half of it. And Ticketmaster says, well, I'll buy all of it. And out goes.
Right. What venue is going to want to work with 2 different companies if they don't need to?
Yeah. And on top of it, let's say they do, and Ticketmaster finds out, Ticketmaster can go, well, we're not going to buy any anymore from you. And, oh, shit. Okay.
Now, somebody who has some power in this dynamic is the artist. Now, not necessarily like a starting artist, of course,
Right.
but some artists will only either work with venues that don't use Ticketmaster or use local ticket sellers or insist that the venue use that. So there is some of that out there, but I don't think it's being done on a wide scale basis.
Yeah, so if you want to read more about this, go over to The Guardian. You can follow the link through ohmTown and check it out. Let's go on to the next article, and it's over in Non Sequitur News. Random couple gate crash. See? Gate crash. And I spelled it great. Anyway, gate crash a wedding through a grate. No, I don't know how they really did it, but anyway, bride and groom stunned by the gift they give. What do you think
Now,
it
I
was?
didn't know the gate crashers gave gifts, so that's intriguing.
They were great cashers. I don't know. After the gate crashers were asked to leave the wedding, the couple were even more surprised to find the card and the gift. So the article is over at newsweek.com. Alice Gibbs is the author. The video has nothing to do with the article. Oh, they gave $11.57 or something, it looks like.
Which is very
Oh my God, I came
amount.
so close. I didn't read the actual amount. It's $11.54. I might be change savant. When you work at the Bank of Change for 25 years, you become innately aware of the amount of change one deposits on the counter. But if you want 5 nickels and 2 dimes, you're going to get exactly 5 nickels and 2 dimes at the Bank of Change. If you've never seen that skit, it's an SNL skit and it's hilarious. So
look, these people actually wrote a card to the wedding.
yeah,
Like the bride and groom. That's been blacked out, I'm sure, so they don't dox themselves. But
yeah, that's awesome. So they did a personal note, and they even said "well said" in the mass media.
I mean, that's
card.
kind of a riot.
It's hilarious.
It's doing it in style, I guess.
That is just hilarious. I noticed the crashers at the time only because they were being thrown out. As I saw them being escorted from the bar to the door, I realized that I didn't recognize them. Nobody had any conversations with them that I know of at the wedding, Carol told Newsweek. So 2 days after the wedding, the bride and groom discovered the card with money inside. When they saw the card and money yesterday, they instantly knew who it was. They sent the photo, and I eventually posted to our combined bride and groom side group chat. After some disbelief and extra confirmations, there's no David or Nancy. The whole newly joined family was beside themselves with laughter.
I mean, that's pretty funny.
That is hilarious. Dinner for 2 for less than $12. Not bad. They scored, but I give them credit for leaving something. That was Historical Animal 17 joked, probably on Reddit. Yeah, mildly interesting subreddit. So others praised the crashers themselves, like Strange Drow, who said random guests show up and they brought a card. Not gonna lie, this is one of the more wholesome wedding crasher stories I've read. Hope that nutty couple is well wherever they are. This is something you find in a movie, some rom-com.
Exactly. It's so movie-esque. I mean, to just see this, it was kind of astounding.
Yeah, there was a movie called Wedding Crashers, and I kind of picture it exactly like that.
Mm-hmm.
Except these people had more taste, that they brought a card. They knew they were crashing. Sometimes it's spur of the moment where you'll walk into, a wedding or something like that and just sit down. I've never done it. I wouldn't have the gall to, but that's okay. Okay, let's keep going. The next article's over in Non Sequitur News. Police pulled over a Waymo that drove into oncoming traffic in Phoenix. Well, in oncoming lane, not actual traffic. So on June 19th, the Phoenix police pulled over a Waymo vehicle that had been driving in oncoming traffic lane. The car was apparently confused by some construction signs and reportedly ran a red light before pulling over in a parking lot to let an officer talk to one of the Waymo support representatives. I actually saw this video about this. Wes Davis over at TheVerge.com put the article together, but Waymo blames inconsistent construction signs for the incident. You know who I blame for the incident?
The company that drives Waymo?
Waymo, yeah. You know what you don't do? Put driverless cars out on the road that
well,
don't understand.
aren't ready.
Yeah, go ahead, folks. You can sit there and, argue with me about, oh, well, nobody got hurt or whatever. But if you do get hurt, are you going to be the one that goes, oh, these things happen, I'm mildly irritated? No, you just got into a vehicle incident with a car that has no liability directly. You can't go and smack somebody. The car's not going into jail, and there isn't going to be anything other than somebody going, oh, that's a funny story later on. In about 2.5 minutes of body cam footage published by local publication AZ Central, the officer told Waymo the car was driving in a construction zone when it went into opposing lanes of traffic, which is real bad, quote unquote. Yeah, he says that's real bad. And
that's a no shit news of 5:34 p.m.
Yeah, and the person at Waymo goes, yeah, all right. When he told the curious bystander what happened, adding, so I lit it up and it takes off in the intersection. A dispatch record reportedly said the car drove through a red light and freaked out before it pulled over. Not sure what that means.
So, is it sentient?
Yeah, that's what's going to happen. Unable to issue citation to computer, say dispatch records, Arizona Central writes. Arizona law does allow officers to give out tickets when a robotaxi commits a traffic violation while driving autonomously. However, officers have to give them to the company that owns the vehicle. Doing so is not feasible, according to a Phoenix police spokesperson, quoted by trade publication Repairer Driven News earlier this year. That might be one to pay attention to.
Mm-hmm.
Waymo didn't immediately respond to The Verge's request for comment. The company told Fox 10 News, Phoenix, that its cars are 3.5 times more likely to avoid a crash than a human being. Except this time it drove into oncoming traffic with a police officer watching. So I don't really care that it's
I also
capable.
don't like that no tickets are essentially going to go to Waymo, because then it's going to show that they have a perfect driving record.
Right.
That's a problem. They need to get that resolved, like have it automated or something.
Yeah, they
which
need
I
to
know
have a
can
dispatch.
cause its own problems, but yeah.
Yeah, basically have an electronic ticketing system that when they pull the car over and they get the person on the report,
they check the block, right? Like it's Waymo and it just shoots it over there or whatever.
Yep, here's your ticket. This is the number. But I mean, at some point this is going to be a scourge, because there isn't going to be a human in a car when there's an incident, and it turns into this forensic analysis. And not just plain liability. Look, everybody has insurance. This gets solved this way. See, but I want automated vehicles. I want everybody to have automated vehicles. That way you can just call a car, get in it, and it takes me to my location at 150 miles an hour, and I don't have to worry about Joe making a 6-lane change across a 4-lane freeway.
Exactly. I swear we saw another instance of a Waymo taking off, like when it was pulled over, but I don't know if it was this one. I saw it recently in ohmTown.
Oh no, there's been several. Oh yeah. And they basically just go, no, nobody's driving, let's go, and off they go. It was a one where the cop started to walk up to it and it started to drive away.
But that's funny, right? It sounds like the citation here, like the vehicle freaked out.
The vehicle freaked out. What's going on here? All right, let's keep going. The next article is over in 4-Wheel Tech. Can you buy a car with a credit card? There isn't anything really in the snippet, so we're going to go over to Autoblog. Greg Rossa is the author. The deck statement says maybe, but it's probably not a great idea. Yeah, because your interest rate is like 9,000.
Interest rate, yeah.
So the answer is, it's possible that some car dealers might allow it, at least for a portion of the purchase, such as the down payment. But if they allow it at all, they're probably going to want to make up for the processing fee, aka transaction fee, that they're being charged by the card company. That's somewhere between 1.5 and 3.5, typically on the higher end of that. Well, it depends on your relationship with your credit card company too, or with the processor. The convenience of credit card use isn't free for retailers any more than it's truly free for you. If you're buying a $50,000 car, you might have a processing fee of $1,500 or more, and that's one more expense on top of all the other tax and registration fees you incur in a car purchase. And dealerships being dealerships, they might even demand a convenience fee on top of all of that just to pile on. So yeah, I don't know if it would be wise to do something like this, but if you have no other option and you need a car fast, probably wondering why you have a credit card at that point, but okay.
Right. Yeah, that's like a short-term win, but probably a long-term loss.
So it seems like anybody who would do this would be verging on identity theft. And this reminds me of the YouTube video that I saw about that Mustang that was the down payment was purchased with a stolen credit card, and now they don't know where the car is, and the
car was in consignment with the dealership.
So the dealership says no, we made the sale, but we're not liable for it. And the terms of the sale basically stipulate that you have to have full coverage, which doesn't ever include consignment, because no coverage would ever consider somebody doing a consignment vehicle sale. So you would basically have to call up your insurance company and go, hey, I'm putting my car on consignment. Can you cover it for this duration? And then when that duration ends, you pull the coverage off, because it's going to be expensive, because they basically have to allow complete strangers to get into a car that's financed to do a test drive and sit in a lot. The risk for it all goes through the roof during this time frame, because a car thief doesn't sit there and follow the rules. So that car could get jacked. But I think that in that instance, they're going to lose. That consignment shop is going to lose, because there's some
absolutely
expectation of performance, and I don't think they really vetted it. But they showed up with a credit card, and the credit card down payment of $10,000 was fraudulent. So, and this just smacks of
that. But meanwhile, they drove off with the car, right?
An $85,000, $86,000 car. Yeah. So, yes, you probably could buy it with a credit card. Anybody who does it, well, everybody involved is in for a hard time. Let's keep going, though. The next article is over in Technology Today. 8 things you never do when your home is threatened by fire. I immediately went to douse it in lighter fluid to make sure the house goes up.
Well, that would be accurate, but I suspect that's not on the list here.
Make s'mores. Break out your marshmallows and sticks. Nearby fire. So Tyler Lacoma over at cnet.com put the article together. 8 things to never do when your home is threatened by fire. Nearby fires can threaten your loved ones and belongings. Keep them safe by dodging these common mistakes. Stand there and watch. That's what I do. So what are they? Let's see if we can get right into all 8. So go outside to watch where the smoke is. Yeah. It doesn't do you any good and waste precious time. Yep. With houses, trees, landscapes in the way, humans are horrible judges of how close and far away a fire might be. And depending on the wind, it can move extremely fast. Yeah.
Exactly. I don't think people appreciate that.
Yeah. So if anything, get your together. If you don't have one, build it immediately. Called a fire file. It has all of your personal identifying documents, your mortgage, your insurance policy, all of your stuff. Although it's electronic nowadays, who knows what happens? I mean, if a person can live in the United States for 77 years and suddenly be marked as no longer a citizen at age 77.
Right.
Yeah.
And even just basic things like having a phone number written down for somebody in your family, because you're so used to having it probably in your phone.
Yeah. So you never know when something might happen, and so you should really get a little backpack and create a thing called a go bag, and that has like charged up batteries and wall warts, the plugs for the cables, and all the accoutrement that you would need should you have to vacate the premises. If aliens come, you want to get out of there. CIA wants you. Want to leave. Mob. Oh, I'm getting distracted. Anyway, I've said too much. Run around to the neighbors' houses. That's what you want to do. Hey, everybody. Did you see the smoke? Everybody thought it was a barbecue when I did it. Nope, whole neighborhood's on fire, folks. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't do that. But I do suffer from hero syndrome because... Anyway, so you'll just waste valuable time. Again, just get your shit together and get ready to leave. You know, if you can vacate well in advance, if you want to try, you can listen to emergency services and see if you're in a higher risk area, but you really should just plan to vacate. And if you're smart, you vacate before everybody else says, oh, now it's time to vacate, because you're going to be...
Yeah, don't wait for mandatory evacuation.
Yeah, just grab your stuff. Everything else can be replaced, but you as a human cannot. Although we're working really hard to be able to download like brains, you know, so into a computer. The sentient AI from the future may actually have been a human at some point. Yeah. But we don't know yet. The sentient AI won't tell me because they're from the future and they don't want to mess with the timeline. Instead, use, it says, our awesome mobile technology to text your family and local friends while you focus on your own home and loved ones. Prioritize your safety. Lock windows. In the panic and worry of prepping for a possible evacuation, many homeowners go around locking doors and windows before their departure. After all, you don't want thieves or desperate people breaking in, right? Big mistake. During fire prep and evacuations, you and your family need unexpected access to different parts of your home, as might first responders. So keep them closed. Don't give the appearance that they're unlocked, but get the hell out. Ignore radio and website warning updates. I'm not going to go through all of these like that. Focus on belongings instead of emergency supplies. So, yes, all you want is all of your stuff. You can save your stuff. No, just grab your go bag and get out. Your go bag is supposed to have everything that you need for an emergency. So have your passport, backup credit cards, personally identifiable information that is almost impossible to get in a timely manner. You know, birth certificates, a mortgage document.
Proof of citizenship, to tie back to the other article from yesterday.
Yeah. And then turn on all of the sprinklers. It doesn't take long for homeowners facing a fire to have the bright idea to turn on their sprinklers before they go. It seems like it might help an encroaching fire, right? Wrong. It's all going to shut down anyway, and the stuff is going to melt, and it's your house that catches on fire, not necessarily your yard. Close trees, etc. Something that was learned during the Hawaiian fire was that anything that was close to the buildings caught fire, and then that caught the building on fire. And so you would see a swath of burnt houses, and then one that had rock borders around the house, right close to the house. And that house is still standing because it had the right shingles. It didn't have wooden shingles. It didn't have brush up against the house, etc. And I think that is the key ingredient there. And then, oh, look, forget about last minute yard prep. So don't worry about anything. Just get out, particularly if it's really close and a fast moving fire. If you've waited until the day of the fire, you're pretty much done for. So just get your stuff and move. So, and then go back home before getting permission. Yeah, you're just going to be part of the problem should you go back before it's cleared. Plus, you might get hurt.
Well, then you're diverting resources too, because they're trying to rescue you or find you or whatever instead of doing other things.
Yeah. So this is a great article. There is minutia over here in this article, so go and check it out. God, that right there is just the freakiest thing, man. And this is so...
Yeah, if you're seeing that, you should not still be at your house.
Yeah, if you're seeing that, you shouldn't be seeing that. Yeah. All right, let's keep going. The next article is over in Wanted, which is another one of our shows. It's in a couple of hours. We've got Reality Hacker after this show, and then Wanted, and then WarCrafters. We won't have this in Wanted, though. 6 PC programs you don't need and can uninstall. A lot of this is subjective to the person, but I'm going to take a look at this and see if pocketlint.com, pocket-lint.com, doggone it.
That's right. Don't forget the dash.
Change their name. Get a different website. Saeed Wazir is the author. I want to go through these real quick. Bing Maps. Most users don't know it exists. Yeah. Why would it? Wait, on mobile? Or it says on your PC. When possible, try to remove bloated vendor software on your PC.
I didn't know there were Bing Maps.
I didn't know that there were Bing Maps as an app. I wouldn't have that installed. Who has that installed? Really? Somebody has Bing Maps installed?
Apparently, new ones are pre-installed.
I mean, bloatware, yeah. But you might as well just format your computer and reinstall the 65 gigabyte virus that is Windows 11. Anyway, yeah, so bloatware. Uninstall bloatware. You really should just wipe out your system, make sure that you get the drivers that are specific to your computer, and then download a good firewall and malware. And so, like on a Mac, I install Malwarebytes and Little Snitch, and on PC I install what is it called? I just forgot the name of it. Glasswire. Sorry.
I think that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, Glasswire and Malwarebytes. So those are the two that you really want. At least that's my recommendation. They are what they are. But anyway, Bing Maps. Oh, and that, and then on Linux and other things, you need to do a whole host of other different things. But anyway, the two main operating systems. So Adobe Acrobat Reader. That's good and bad. There are alternatives. Like you can open up a PDF in a browser, but there's only so much that you can do. Reader is fine.
Yeah, if you need to edit or sign or anything, I'm not sure if you can do that without one of the Adobe files.
Yeah. So Feedback Hub, which again, I've never even utilized it. So if it exists, then it's part of the bloatware package. But you're going to be busy removing a whole lot more. Windows Media Player Legacy. Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of one of those innocuous programs that doesn't really do anything. And if you're worried about the 52K of storage that it's taking up, then you're worrying about the wrong thing. That is not
what should be on your radar.
Yeah, WinZip and other zip programs. I don't know. I actually have like old school licensing for WinZip and WinRAR and all of that kind of stuff from back in the day, yo. And they're really small programs. They actually have more configurability and more options than the integrated compression. So I would probably still use these for my own, personal desire. So I wouldn't really uninstall anything. And then they say bloated vendor software, which is pretty much everything short of Windows 11. Everything else is personal choice. So this is an interesting article drawing attention to some things, but these are probably the least that I would worry about. Yeah.
But that might also be the point, because if you remove these, you're probably not harming your computer without anything. Knowing what the user is doing.
You're just wasting time. Go prepare for that house fire. Build your go bag. Okay, let's go on to the next article. This one is a weird one. I'm not quite sure I get it. Tokens are a big reason today's generative AI falls short. But I wanted to talk about it. Sorry, it's really warm in the mayoral mansion right now. Okay, so generative AI models don't process text the same way humans do. Understanding their token-based internal environments may help explain some of their strange behaviors and stubborn limitations. Most models, from small on-device ones like Gemma to OpenAI's industry-leading GPT-4o, or built on architecture known as the transformer. But everything uses tokens. Kyle Wiggers is the author over at TechCrunch.com, and they say, so for reasons both programmatic and technical, today's transformer models work with text that's been broken down into smaller bite-sized pieces called tokens, a process known as tokenization. Tokens can be words like fantastic, or they can be syllables like fantastic, depending on syllables. All right, sure, I'll give you that. Depending on the tokenizer, the model that does the tokenizing may even be able to break it down to individual letters. So using this method, transformers can take in more information in the semantic sense before they reach an upper limit known as the context window, but tokenization also can introduce bias. So if it can't break it down and it only gets information that is aligned with the tokens, then it can only really understand or frame things within the tokenization. So tokenizers treat case differently too. Hello isn't necessarily the same as a capital all hello to a model. Hello is usually one token, while hello can be as many as three, H, E, E, L, and O. That's why many transformers fail the capital letter test. But that's part of the semantic learning for the AI.
Well, is this how they're programmed as well?
Right. So the fuzziness creates even more problems in English language other than English, in other languages other than English. Yeah, I can imagine, because they would have to have as much information as the English in the
and
English.
Appreciate the characters that were not in English, right?
Correct. Yep. So a 2023 study found that because of differences in the way non-English languages are tokenized, it can take a transformer twice as long to complete a task phrased in a non-English language versus the same task phrased in English. The same study and another found that users of less token-efficient languages are likely to see worse model performance, yet pay more for usage, given that many AI vendors charge per token. So yeah, I don't know. As far as I understand it, tokenization is the way to do it. So rarely are digits tokenized consistently because they don't really know what numbers are. Tokenizers may treat 380 as one token but represent 381 as a pair, 38 and 1, effectively destroying the relationship between the digits and results in equations and formulas. So yeah. And they make a reference to GPT-4 thinks that 7735 is greater than 7926. And that's largely because it was broken down improperly.
Must have been broken into two groups of two, and if it added them up, the first one was higher, for example.
Yeah, 773 and 5, and the other one was 7926 or whatever. That broke it out the wrong way. We'd have to look at the paper to, but they have a link to the paper. And then they actually link to a couple of people that tweeted out. Andre Carpathy. We will see a lot of weird behaviors and problems of LLMs actually trace back to tokenization. We'll go through a number of these issues, discuss why tokenization is at fault, and why someone out there really needs to find a way to delete this stage entirely. So why the LLM break if I ask it about solid gold Magikarp, and they say tokenization. But not necessarily if it understands the three individual concepts, solid, gold, and Magikarp, because it understands the concept of Pokemon and the various elements.
But I guess tokenization in general doesn't. Maybe it would on one individual LLM.
Yeah, and there's things like in Python, you can actually look at a whole bunch of data, and it will, like when we did the phoneme program that could represent anybody's speech with anybody's written text. This is what we did essentially, but this was 30 years ago now, roughly 20 years ago. It is exemplary in being able to break down a massive amount of data into ever smaller parts and then transform them into something that is nothing close to the original, because you have those, in my case, phonemes, individual elements that make sound. So I don't know. This is actually a very powerful solution. I don't really like the idea of this. It says it's probably best to let models look at characters directly without imposing tokenization, but right now that's just computationally infeasible for transformers. Fuchs said, for transformer models in particular, computation scales quadratically with sequence length, and so we really want to use short text representations. So the people that are talking about tokenization being the problem, what's the solution? Don't just plop out it's a problem.
Well, they're saying that avoid that altogether and just read exactly what it is, but then other people are making the point that there's too much processing that would have to happen, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So yeah, could there be an alternative to tokenization, or could there be like a standard set of tokenization rules or something?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know of a solution, but I'm not neck deep in this stuff. So, okay, let's do our last article for today's non sequitur news, and that is over in Stock Marketeers. Home buyers who could barely afford their homes are a hit with TikTok viewers. It costs more to buy a house today than it did just a few years ago, and that expense starts with the down payment. So the article's over at marketwatch.com. Weston Blasi, 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 I think, are the authors. It costs a lot more to buy a house today than it did a few years ago. We're talking like we're heading towards like the late 70s type of issue with buying a house. And so people often become house poor because they lack a clear strategy when purchasing their home. That's not true. They become house poor because they can't afford a house to begin with.
Because everything costs a lot, including houses, including groceries.
Not everybody is living at home making 6 digits as an influencer with mom and dad footing the bill for everything else so that you can save up $400,000 and buy a frickin' house.
Nice callback to a recent episode.
Yeah, everybody has that as an opportunity. Yeah. So in the videos, people show themselves enjoying their new residences, often with no furniture or household items inside. And in many instances, the people post themselves eating on the floor instead of a table, napping on the floor instead of a bed, and watching a blank wall instead of a TV. Here are a few examples. We don't really need to see. Here's the deal. If this is what you end up doing when you buy your first house, been there. Yeah. And you have to start somewhere. And you don't necessarily bring everything that you had in your apartment over to the new house. Why? Because you're bringing elf furniture into a bigger place, a bigger space.
Or you're spending more time and money to transport it, right, depending on how far you're going.
Yeah. And you want something new. But I remember getting a house where whoops. I remember getting a house where the start of this, the first few weeks, I think it was, basically amounted to folding chairs in the living room and a TV.
Camp chairs, yes.
Yeah. So videos like these have amassed over 10 million views on social media and come as pending U.S. home sales fell to an all-time low in May. How much money put down? It can vary by type of buyer and type of offer, but typically the goal is to put down 20% of a home's final sale price. If you put down less than 20%, you'll have private mortgage insurance, unless you are related somewhere around like active duty, or you find a deal somewhere where you don't have to put down mortgage insurance, because I think it's a ripoff. Nothing says financial stability or instability or successive future payments like tacking on $400 of a $1,200 mortgage payment because there's fear that you won't be able to pay the freaking mortgage.
That's what they really need to do to shake up the industry, is get rid of private mortgage insurance.
Right.
I mean, there could be other things, I'm sure, but that would allow people to actually get into first houses.
Mm-hmm. So most people put down less than 20%. Typical was 8%, up from 6% the previous year. A 20% down payment on a median home price would be $84,160.
Who has that amount of money sitting around unless you're in the top percentage of income or earners?
Approximately 98.8% of all homes became less affordable in the second quarter of 2024, according to Atom Data Solutions report. So how can people prevent themselves from being house poor? The 30% rule, but that's nothing.
And that's based on unrealistic conditions.
And by the way, most mortgage companies won't allow you to do anything other than 30% to qualify.
Well,
even
that's
if
true. Yes.
Even if you can't put the down payment down, they're not going to let you. They're
right, because they're going to think you can't make the mortgage payments.
Right. And then they go, well, you're going to need mortgage insurance. And that's, 20% of your mortgage, for crying out loud, on top of what your mortgage is already.
You know what's preventing me from making my mortgage payment is all these fees tacked onto it.
Yep. Not to mention the real estate, the realtor is going to be, the real estate agent is going to be taking 6%. So.
But not so going forward.
Yeah, that hasn't been enacted yet, right?
I don't know. The decision happened, but I don't know when it actually goes into effect.
Yeah, they don't actually talk about that here, do they? No.
Surprisingly not. That seems like that'd be something they'd tackle at the end here.
Yeah, so it says it's not always been easy to do in today's market, according to a 2024 Zillow analysis, which is really interesting because I actually looked at Zillow today before the article. I was kind of fascinated. Anyway, a home buyer making the median income in the U.S. today would need to spend $128,000 on a down payment for their total monthly costs on a $360,000 home, not to exceed the oft-cited 30% rule. That's a 35.4% down payment. So who has $128,000 laying around?
Absolutely nobody, at least in like the 99%.
Yeah. All right, folks. Well, I'm going to go and activate my mortgage insurance payment, and that's going to snap us back to the front page of ohmTown.com. That's what powers all of these shows. We talk about news in real time, and I hope to see you over here on Twitch and then over on YouTube and download the podcast. And I need to fix this because my hand keeps disappearing into my arm. Oh.
Where did it go?
Anyway, I am Mayor Watt, and that is the Sentient AI's visualizer.
Thanks for joining us, ohmTown citizens. Come back. We have 3 more shows coming up
As soon as humanly possible. So I got to reset, but we always end the show, and then we come back, and we have a different show altogether. So see you in a little bit.